We didn't think you'd show, Mom said. It might ruin the vibe. That's what my sister whispered when I walked into the restaurant alone. I'm Amelia, here. I'm 41, 14 years in uniform. But to my family, I'm still just the girl with a short haircut, no husband, and too many opinions. No one saved me a seat. No one asked where I'd been. And just as I reached for the breadbasket, my uncle leaned over and asked, loud enough for everyone, "So, what now?" "Grocery store jobs." What they didn't know was that I just turned down a classified Pentagon post because I refused to sell my soul for silence. Ever felt dismissed by the very people who used your story? Tell me in the comments. I hadn't been home in over 14 years, but there I was at Laurel Oak, the most expensive restaurant in Magnolia Ridge, sitting in a navy dress. That didn't quite fit right. Next to the swinging kitchen doors, smelling garlic and dishwasher steam. No one stood when I walked in. The hostess barely glanced at me. "You're with the Ford party," she said, pointing toward the far end of the table. They continued to talk as if I were not present, as if I had never existed. I saw Vanessa, my sister, floating across the candles and silverware. She was dressed like an actress for a premiere, with perfect hair and a poised voice. She encircled the mayor with one arm. "Our new community initiative is launching soon," she announced. "It has Crane Ventures' full support." Not one word about me. Not one look. Just airbrushed history in a red dress. When my mom stood to speak, her voice rang proud. She listed her blessings, including Vanessa's successful startup, Brian's admission to medical school, and the baby's spelling bee ribbon. Nothing about me. I raised my glass anyway. Because what else do you do? Later, one of my great-aunts leaned in, squinting behind bifocals. "What is it you do in the military?" "Dear, something with food logistics." I didn't answer because the truth that I commanded combat missions would never fit into their sanitized version of patriotism. As dessert arrived, Vanessa leaned down and whispered, "You came back just in time." But Mom really didn't want the vibe to feel too overshadowed. I looked at her, still the same girl who copied my homework and blamed me when we got caught. The next morning, I woke up in a motel room that smelled like bleach and silence. No one had offered me a place to stay, not even a polite gesture. The only message on my phone: "Thanks for coming. Your mother's tired. Not up for visitors." From my father. I walked into town just to breathe. Magnolia Ridge hadn't changed, but I had. Then I noticed it. Vanessa's boutique, the gold thread. In the front window display, a massive photo of her in a military-style dress uniform, a bronze star, pinned to her chest. I froze. It was the decommissioned design, one with a manufacturing flaw that was pulled years ago. Only someone who stole it or bought it off a collector would wear that. And she wore it like jewelry. Below it, a tagline: "From family legacy to civic duty." Last night's memory hit me. Vanessa, laughing lightly to a guest. My sister tried the military thing, but it wasn't for her. I learned from her mistakes. I didn't go in. I couldn't. Instead, I walked to my father's bookstore. The door sounded with the same bell, same dust, same denial, and on his desk, a gilded frame holding a military profile of me, Amelia Ford, Reserve Logistics Division, It was fake and written poorly. Before Fallujah, I had reached Major. I never worked in logistics. He walked out from the stockroom, saw me holding the frame, and didn't flinch. She didn't want people to think of you as someone who's killed people, he mumbled. You're a woman. You know how your mother is. Vanessa's easier for folks, for the family, he added. I looked around. Vanessa's graduation photo hung in full color center stage. My military picture, smaller, darker, cropped below the chest, no medals, no context. I did not disagree. I took the fake report, folded it once, slipped it into my pocket, and walked out. The sun was warm, but I'd never felt colder. I had no intention of attending the fundraiser, but after seeing the forged report and the forged medal, I had to know how far she would go. Vanessa had rented out the Magnolia Country Club, crystal chandeliers, jazz quartet, every napkin folded into swans. I was placed at table 14 by the restroom doors, next to a potted plant, a woman on her phone, a man already slurring his second whiskey. Nobody noticed me, not even when Victor Crane stepped on stage. Yes, that Victor Crane, real estate mogul, political donor, Vanessa's silent partner. He smiled like a man who bought his applause. Tonight, we honor a woman who's risen above a complicated legacy, Vanessa Ford. Proof that even when a family has been stained by a military code violation, excellence can still emerge. I was unable to breathe. Stained? Violation. I was never charged, never even investigated. Fallujah had left scars, but not shame. I slipped into the hallway, needing air, but then voices from behind a cracked catering door. Vanessa's. She never defends herself, she just absorbs it, which is perfect. Honestly, another voice. Her assistant. Crane just needs a little proof. We've still got that old letter she wrote about covering for her school. That'll be enough if we ever need to keep her quiet. My heart stopped. There was only one letter they could mean, the one I wrote in a hospital bed. It explained why I turned down a promotion to protect Marcus Reed, my squad mate, who made a risky call under fire but saved dozens of civilians. It wasn't weakness. It was the truth I never thought would leave the base. I left the country club without looking back. I pulled out my previous deployment trunk and found it as I walked all the way back to the motel. The original letter, still folded, still heavy. Except now, I knew someone had weaponized it. When the phone rang, I poured motel coffee into a paper cup. Unknown number. Unmistakable voice. Colonel Harrow. I'm in Magnolia Ridge this afternoon. Laurel Oak. Some folks need reminding who you are. He didn't give details. He didn't have to. That evening, I entered the same ballroom where I had previously sat near the kitchen doors. This time, it was young leaders of Magnolia Night. Vanessa, at center stage, emerald dress, rehearsed humility. My sister served once, she said, not naming me, but combat is difficult. Her journey taught me something. The crowd applauded. A few turned my way, squinting, unsure why I looked familiar. Then the doors opened. 10 people walked in, their civilian attire, military posture. Harrow led them through the fabric like a knife. He walked straight to me, came to attention, and saluted. Welcome back, Major General Ford, he said. loud and clear. It's an honor to stand beside my former commander from Fallujah. The room froze. Vanessa blinked. My mother gasped. The mayor nearly dropped his wine glass. Haro turned to the crowd. For those unfamiliar, General Ford led Operation Emberline, the rescue of 42 civilians under fire in the Red Sector. That year, she was the youngest person to receive the Valor Cross. Vanessa tried to interrupt. Her voice cracked. She turned down a promotion. Haro continued, ignoring her to protect her team's integrity. She also exposed an illegal arms deal, one that endangered not only our unit but the civilians we swore to protect. Gasps not of surprise, but of recalculation. From the back of the room, I saw him, the photographer from my mother's birthday party. He raised his camera, captured the moment, not just my face, but Vanessa's unraveling, a picture of the truth taking back space. I didn't stay for dessert. As I exited, a line of former soldiers stood by the door. Each one nodded, one murmured, "Mum." And that hit harder than any applause ever could. 2 days after the Veterans Conference, Victor Crane's face was on every headline: CNN, Military Times, Washington Post, Fallujah cover-up exposed. General Amelia Ford speaks out. His empire crumbled overnight. Crane was arrested, and I was classified as a federal whistleblower. It should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt quiet. I returned to Magnolia Ridge under a gray sky. The living room remained unchanged, except my parents were waiting. My father walked to the wall, took down the framed defect report, and tore it in half without a word. "I didn't have the courage to stand with you," he said, "but I see now it was your courage that kept us all standing." Later, I found Vanessa packing up the remains of her startup. She looked at me through red-rimmed eyes. "I just wanted Mom to look at me the way she looked at you," she whispered, "but I forgot what you had to survive to earn that." I nodded. "You don't need to be me. You just need to stop turning other people's wars into your stage." That afternoon, we stood at Marcus Reed's grave. Lily, his daughter, held my hand. "You're the woman who speaks for Daddy," she said softly. I knelt and gave her his eagle pin. "Would you like to stay with me for a while?" I asked. "Somewhere you don't have to hide who you love." She nodded. 3 months later, the new Marcus Reed Veterans Resource Center opened. My name was on the plaque, but the spotlight stayed on others. Lily held a photo of her dad standing in the back row. Vanessa, no cameras, no speeches, just present. And I knew some battles change the world. Some just make sure the truth survives it. If this story moved you, let me know where you're watching from, or just drop a simple comment, "Still here." Because surviving alone is one thing, but rebuilding that takes all of us. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to hit subscribe. Your presence matters more than you know.